Paris, 1925. The City of Light is drowning in debt after World War I. The government is desperate, and one man sees an opportunity. A mysterious official summons 5 of the city's wealthiest scrap metal dealers to the Hotel de Crillon. The meeting is secret. The topic? Unthinkable. He drops a bombshell. Gentlemen, France can no longer afford the Eiffel Tower. The government has voted to dismantle it, for scrap metal. The room erupts. But the official silences them with a whisper, "You can bid on it today." What these men don't know. The official isn't from the government. He's Count Victor Lustig, a man who doesn't just lie for money. He makes reality his con. And this is just the beginning.
Put your hands up for stories untold, echoes of glory and hearts so bold. We dig deeper where the truth will glow. Forgotten history, let the rhythm flow.
The year is 1890. In the quiet Bohemian town of Hostin, nestled in the shadow of the crumbling Austro-Hungarian Empire, a boy named Robert Václav Lustig enters a world of fraying aristocracy and desperate poverty. His father, a minor town official, clings to the last vestiges of respectability while his mother whispers of their family's noble lineage, long since lost to time and bad investments. Young Victor, he would later choose the name himself, Count, had a better ring to it, grows up in the cracks between worlds. At school, he watches the sons of industrialists flaunt their pocket watches, while peasant children beg for crusts outside the bakery. He learns his first great lesson early: appearance is everything. By 14, he's fluent in German, French, and Czech, not from books, but from listening at keyholes in his father's municipal office. At 16, he hustles tourists at chess and Prague cafes, letting them win just enough to keep them coming back. But his real education comes aboard the Orient Express, where he observes something fascinating. The richer the passenger, the more terrified they are of looking foolish. A diamond merchant would rather lose a fortune than admit he'd been duped. A steel magnate would pay twice the stolen amount to keep it out of the papers. Lustig doesn't just see greed, he sees insecurity dressed in tailored suits. And in that moment, the greatest con artist of the 20th century is born, not from malice, but from cold, clinical understanding. In the spring of 1925, Paris was a city of contradictions. The roaring 20s were in full swing, jazz filled the air, champagne flowed endlessly, and the French elite partied like there was no tomorrow. But behind the glittering facade, the government was nearly bankrupt. World War I had drained the treasury, and maintenance on the Eiffel Tower alone cost a fortune. Victor Lustig read about these financial troubles in Le Matin newspaper over his morning coffee. And that's when the idea struck him, not just to scam one person but to scam Paris itself. He began by transforming himself into deputy director of the Ministry of Posts and Telegraphs. Forged documents? Easy. An official-looking suit? Child's play. But the masterstroke was the story he crafted, that the Eiffel Tower was becoming too expensive to maintain, and the government had secretly decided to sell it for scrap metal. Lustig targeted André Poisson, an ambitious but insecure scrap metal dealer hungry for prestige. At a private meeting in a luxury hotel, Lustig laid out his trap. He showed Poisson official-looking blueprints, complete with fake ministry stamps, lamenting how the tower's ironwork was deteriorating. Then came the killer line, "Of course, Monsieur Poisson, for a man of your connections, certain accommodations could be made." Poisson took the bait, hook, line, and sinker. He paid Lustig a small fortune in cash as a bribe to secure the deal, plus an additional consultation fee. When Poisson later grew suspicious, Lustig didn't panic. He simply returned half the money, claiming the deal had fallen through due to political pressures. Humiliated and relieved to get anything back, Poisson never went to the police. But here's the audacious part. Lustig liked the scam so much he tried it again a month later with another dealer. This time though, the mark went to the authorities. Lustig barely escaped Paris by train, laughing all the way to Vienna with enough money to live like a king for years. The genius of the scheme wasn't just in its boldness, it was in understanding human psychology. Lustig knew the wealthy would rather lose money than admit they'd been fooled. After all, who would believe someone tried to sell the Eiffel Tower? It was the perfect crime, until it wasn't. Fresh off the Eiffel Tower scheme, Lustig set his sights on an even more audacious con, one that would put him face to face with the most dangerous man in America. He called it the Romanian box. a gleaming brass and mahogany contraption that looked like it belonged in Jules Verne's workshop. With theatrical flourishes, Lustig would demonstrate its magic. Feed in a $1,000 bill, wait 6 hours, and out would come 2 identical bills. A secret invention from Bucharest, he'd whisper. The government wants it destroyed. Of course, the machine was pure theater. While the mark waited eagerly for their duplicated cash, Lustig would simply take the original money and flee. But his boldest test came when he pitched the device to none other than Al Capone. The Chicago crime boss handed over $5,000 to be doubled. When Lustig, predictably, disappeared, Capone put a $50,000 bounty on his head. But in a move that defied all logic, Lustig returned a week later, with Capone's full $5,000 plus interest. Why? Capone growled. Lustig just smiled, to prove that even you could be conned, and that I'm the only man brave enough to admit it. Stunned by the audacity, Capone laughed, and let him walk away. It was the ultimate psychological play. Sometimes the best way to rob someone is to give the money back. By 1929, Victor Lustig had conned millionaires, outsmarted the law, and even played Al Capone like a fiddle. But his masterpiece? Selling an entire country, one that didn't exist. Posing as Prince von Blankenstein, the exiled ruler of a tiny and entirely fictional European principality, Lustig arrived in New York with a forged deed to 10,000 acres of tax-free paradise in the Alps. His story was airtight. The land had been seized by communists, but for the right price, wealthy Americans could own a piece of old-world nobility, complete with titles like Baron and Countess. He rented a penthouse at the Waldorf Astoria, hosted lavish parties with hired actors playing his court, and even printed currency for the Principality of Blankenstein. Investors lined up to buy plots of this fairy tale kingdom, paying in cash, jewels, and even stock certificates. For 6 glorious months, Lustig lived like a monarch, until one suspicious banker noticed something odd. There was no record of Blankenstein anywhere in European history. Arrested in 1930, Lustig somehow talked his way out of custody, twice. The first time, he convinced guards he was a diplomat. The second? He simply walked out during a shift change, flashing a smile and a fake FBI badge. It was the ultimate irony. The man who sold a nation couldn't be contained by one. On March 11, 1947, Victor Lustig drew his last breath in Alcatraz's prison hospital. A man who'd swindled millions, yet died under the name Prisoner AZ-1568. The guards joked that even his death certificate might be a forgery. But here's what makes Lustig unforgettable. He didn't just exploit greed. He exposed how desperately people want to believe in magic, in shortcuts to wealth, in secret nobility, in the idea that they're too smart to be fooled. So tell us, was Lustig a villain, or just a mirror held up to society? And which of his cons fascinates you most? The Eiffel Tower? The fake country? Let us know in the comments. We read every one. Want more unbelievable true stories? Hit subscribe and turn on notifications, because next week, we're exposing the real Wolf of Wall Street, who made Lustig look like an amateur. Until then, stay curious, but maybe double-check who's selling you the Eiffel Tower.